guys, welcome to SheKnowsArsenal. My name is Jessica and I'm your host, and you can follow me on Twitter at @It'sJessino. So this is the Headline Show, episode 5. I'm really excited. I like this series. This is a lot of fun. I think it's a good way to unwind at the end of the day and just talk about some nonsense, not take it too serious, and just have a little bit of fun, So I hope you guys are enjoying it as well. Let me know in the chat box how you're feeling. How are you excited for the weekend? What are you going to be doing in the next couple of days? All that good stuff. And we'll just go ahead and get started. So the headlines for today are going to be, hold on, you guys, I'm making mistakes already. So the headlines for today are going to be Arsenal legend Thierry Henry has put in a good word for young Belgium Anderlecht midfielder AlbertJTV Lokonga. And the second headline is contact started between Juventus and Arsenal for an exchange between Ramsey and Bellerin. So that's what we'll be talking about today. Crazy, crazy news. And again, the way these shows kind of work is we know that these are probably not 100% true. We don't really focus on that. We just kind of have a conversation about it and those types of things. So let me go ahead and share my screen so that I can get this up for you guys. Let's see, where's the Thierry Henry one? Where is it? There it is. Okay. Let's clear that. Let's block that. Okay. So there's the headline. Arsenal legend Thierry Henry has put in a good word for young Belgium Anderlecht midfielder AlbertJTV Lokonga. We heard that a couple of days ago that we were being linked with this young Belgium midfielder. I'm not going to act like I've ever seen him play. I really haven't. Before he was mentioned, I've never seen anything about this guy, right? So basically what they're saying is that the Gunners are likely to be on the lookout for a new central midfielder this summer amid suggestions that Granit Xhaka could depart, and Brighton's Yves Bissouma has been mentioned as a possible target. However, Henry has put in a good word for Lokonga and believes that he would be a good option for Mikel Arteta's side. So that's interesting. I think we all know that Thierry Henry has worked with Belgium in the past, and he's also been rehired as some sort of assistant coach or hired on the coaching staff for Belgium for Euro 2020. So I would imagine that he would know something about this player, right? So they're saying Lokonga plays for Belgium's under-21 side and has received his first major call-up in March. Although he wasn't included in Belgium's squad for Euro 2020, the 21-year-old is seen as a talented prospect. Henry recently rejoined Belgium's coaching staff, which is what we said. Lokonga made 27 appearances for Anderlecht this season, during which time he scored 3 occasions, while he also provided 2 assists. The youngster has just over 2 years remaining on his Anderlecht contract, and that's pretty much what that says. So, I mean, not too bad of a headline. It's not something that I'm like, oh, this could never be true. Maybe Thierry Henry does have the inside scoop on this guy and is giving, Arteta or whoever some knowledge on him. I think I'm not really sure about this. I just think maybe we've scouted him on his own, and maybe somebody's just kind of reaching. Maybe, Thierry has been asked about this player and he knows about him. And I'm not sure if Thierry has like Arteta's number like that, is calling him and is like, yeah, this guy's really good. Or maybe maybe Arteta and them called Henry and asked him about it. I'm not sure. But nevertheless, I think this is a good link to have. What I can say about this transfer window that we're in right now is that I like the people that we're being linked with. In the past, we've been linked with players that don't really make a lot of sense, and the most reasonable and the most likely or reliable sources have linked us with people that make sense. So for me, as long as they make sense, that makes me feel a little bit better, even if it doesn't really come to fruition in the long term. So let's talk a little bit about this player and who he is, right? So here he is. Okay, so he's he's supposed to be a defensive midfielder. That's what he's listed as. So we all kind of know that we're looking for somebody to play in the base of the midfield. Right now, it looks like after the transfer window, based on the rumors, we may only have El Neni and Thomas Partey to play in that position. Ceballos is gone. I don't think Torreira's coming back. Guendouzi's linked with the move away, as well as Granit Xhaka. So, and even Willock and Maitland-Niles don't look like they're coming back in. So what that basically means is we need to rebuild this midfield. And we also have to keep in mind that with the African Cup of Nations coming up, we might want to make sure that some of these players are not going to be in that tournament. Now, just a sidebar is that some people in the comment section were telling me a couple of days ago that Basuma hasn't actually played for the Mali national team since 2018. And when I did my digging, that's absolutely correct. He hasn't played for them in a while, so I'm not sure if he's not going to AFCON. Nevertheless, we still need to bring in somebody that can play throughout that tournament. And not only that, I think we need to bring in maybe at least one young prospect. I would like to see Arsenal bring in some of the best untapped talent, and be that team. And this would be a good step because based on what people are saying, he would fit that bill, right? And I'm not going to pretend like I'm a freaking expert on him. I'm not going to be like, oh, I watched a couple of compilations and I know this guy. But based on what I have seen, he looks okay. He looks like a good player, right? So basically on Who Scored, what they're saying is that his strengths are passing, through balls, dribbling, long shots, concentration, which is a big one, concentration, and ball interception. So that sounds like a typical defensive midfielder that knows what they're doing, but with the extra technical ability to play the ball forward, play progressive through balls, and that's really important. We need players that are strong on the half turn and that can also offer us something within their passing that's a little bit more polished. And that's what I really like about Thomas Partey is that even though he gives you that, defensive midfielder type of steal sometimes, he has a little bit of flair to him where he can finesse and kind of get away from defenders on the half turn and also pass a really, really good through ball into our forward players, which has been really good for us this season when he's been on point. And if Lokonga is similar to that, and what I saw kind of so how I use compilations is not really to determine whether or not this is a player that we should get. It's more to see what the profile is, because that's really all you can really gauge from compilations is the profile. And he profiles very similarly to Thomas Partey a little bit of Basuma, but a lot of Camavinga to me. He's more of a modern defensive center midfielder. Defensive center midfielders in the past have had pretty much like very limited passing ability. They were just used to break up play. Now modern CDMs have the ability to also dictate play from deeper positions, and that's what he kind of looks like to me. He also can get box to box, which is really nice. So that's what I like about him. So that is a player that we're being linked with. Whether or not Thierry Henry is really in the ear of Arteta is not really something that it's not something that I'm like, oh yeah, that definitely makes sense to me. But us being linked with this player makes sense in, the fact that we actually need to fill in this position. And this player looks like he might fit the bill on the surface, So let's see what you guys are saying about that particular headline in the chat box. Let's see. Usab says, hi, Jess. Hey, how are you? Usab says, Lokonga is a good player, young Belgium mid with power and pace, looks good on the ball at his feet also. Yeah, for sure. That's what he looked like. Bowie the Cat said, I've never seen him play. And Olivier said, with Henry connection to Belgium, he has to say that, but he has to be good to make it into the Belgium team. That's true because that's a very stacked team, so that's a decent link. You guys, I also forgot to send out the link to let everybody know that we're live. So just give me 1 second so I can make sure we do that. I'm making, okay. All right. So let's talk about the big one. So after we got off of the show just a couple of hours ago, I checked my phone and I see Aaron Ramsey on my timeline, going down the timeline. Aaron Ramsey. I'm like, what are they talking about? So the headline essentially was that, well, let me share my screen so I can show you guys what I saw. Share that. This is what I saw, you guys. So it said contacts started between Juventus and Arsenal for an exchange between Ramsey and Bellerin. You guys, this sounds ridiculous to me in so many different ways. I know we like Ramsey. Ramsey is kind of like a cult hero here at Arsenal. Not quite a legend, but definitely has some iconic goals for Arsenal in the FA Cup in particular, and is somebody that I think we should have got money for if we were going to sell or get rid of him. And it's just unfortunate kind of how his Arsenal career has ended. Now, that being said, his Arsenal career is done. We don't need to bring him back. And every window we're linked with him again. And I just don't really get the link at all. Let's just start with Bellerin in particular. Now, we need to recoup a fee for Hector Bellerin. I think it's going to be difficult in this window because there's a lot of right backs out there that can do something similar to Bellerin and that may cost the same or less than Bellerin. So I think although we want a fee and we should push to get a fee for Hector Bellerin, it may be difficult because people will want to loan him out. And the teams that were interested in him, like Barcelona and PSG, have now seemed to move to other contacts or other options. So maybe the market for Hector Bellerin is a little bit less. Maybe it's not as good as it was a couple of months ago. But still, we need to push for a fee and a swap deal, which I think swap deals might be something that are on the cards for this summer. I just don't understand how this makes sense. Not from... I mean, Aaron Ramsey, 30 years old, injury prone, high wages, not in good form. I mean, nothing besides the fact that we like him makes sense to me at all whatsoever. So I have to, just for my own sake, put this in the rubbish pile. There's absolutely no way that we should be doing this. I couldn't even say from like a standpoint of like, well, he knows the club and leadership and all that kind of stuff. I think we've already kind of seen that we have leaders in the club. Like, we have players that we can rely on. We just need to allow them to emerge, and bringing in players like this doesn't really help us out. And it just reeks of just, if this is real, this would be a huge black mark for me, for Edu. It just doesn't make sense to me. So there's definitely that. But also there was the other link as well that came out this morning about Kieran Trippier. So I'll put that one up as well. And this is why I think that maybe the market is a little bit is not as good for Hector Bellerin as maybe it was a summer ago. Atletico Madrid eye Hector Bellerin as a Kieran Trippier replacement. So this was from 90 Min. This was written by Harry Symeou, basically saying that Kieran Trippier was their go-to right back, and Manchester United is interested in buying Kieran Trippier from Atletico as some sort of backup for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And Bellerin is of interest of them to become a replacement for Kieran Trippier, right? So that makes sense to me. I'm like, okay, so Manchester United buys Kieran Trippier, and then we sell you Hector Bellerin, and then we go buy the right back that we actually want, right? So, and we all know about the Real Betis thing, that they really want Bellerin, but they can't afford him, right? And so there's little signs kind of popping up here and there that are kind of showing us that maybe the market for Hector Bellerin is not that good. Then at the very end here, it says Marca add the possibility of a player swap deal with Arsenal involving Hector Bellerin, and they could swap, Hector Bellerin for Kieran Trippier. We need to sell Hector Bellerin. We have to figure out a way to sell him and get some money for him. 25 years old, still has a lot to give. We need to figure out a way to get 25 million for Hector Bellerin, and so we could purchase the right back that we prefer. I just don't love the player swap when it feels like we're getting something not as good, or we're not getting anything for this, because let's just be real. Like, not even just talking about the fact that Kieran Trippier was a Spurs player, just let's pretend like he's not. He's an okay right back. He's okay, but he's 30 years old. And the project is based on us getting our age profile down. So we need players that are younger to get this team going. And so bringing in a 30-year-old right back with Callum Chambers and Cedric already there just reeks of stupidity. So for me, I'm looking at this and the signs are kind of saying that maybe there's not a real good market for Hector Bellerin, but this is the test for Edu. He needs to figure out a way to get a fee for Hector Bellerin, a suitable fee that's worth it for us to sell our starting right back. It has to make sense. We can't cut corners and do something stupid, bring in Kieran Trippier or frickin' Aaron Ramsey because we can't think or we can't make something happen. I expect him to get this right. I expect Edu to get this right. And these types of links are just, they're giving me anxiety because I'm just like, I give you leniency for obviously the Guendouzi thing because I just think it is what it is. But Hector Bellerin, you need to find a way to get 25 million for this guy because he's worth that. And I know it's difficult, but that's why you're here. A good director of football would figure that out. So these links are just not looking good. But between Aaron Ramsey for Bellerin and Kieran Trippier for Bellerin, I'm not feeling it. But you guys let me know how you guys feel about it. Would you guys entertain either of these options? Or do you think kind of similarly to me that Edu has got to figure out a way to get 25 million for Hector Bellerin? Let's see. Usopp said would still prefer Basuma. Bowie the Cat says laughable. Olivier said, how about Ozo? He's available. No. Gunnar Glenn says Lokonga will be eased into the team. Can't see him being in the starting 11. Io said Arteta played with Ramsey. I wouldn't even be surprised. Nozaza said, do you rate Antonio Rudiger? Not really, to be honest. I think he's just okay. But Abubu Baba says Bellerin can be a revelation in Serie A. Yeah, he definitely needs to go to a different league and experience something different. For me, I don't want to even batter him anymore. It's just it's too much. Like I think it's time to just part ways. He's done enough for Arsenal. He's been here long enough. And I think he would be good in Serie A or, the French league or something like that, where it's a little bit slower. He would be good there. Gunnar Glenn says Bellerin will love Italy, all the fashion cities. Bowie the Cat said the links with Bellerin Trippier swap would be a better move for me. I mean, it makes more sense because you'd actually be getting a right back. For Aaron Ramsey, you're getting a midfielder that's injury prone on high wages and that's older, and you still have to address the right back situation. It just doesn't make sense. You do that, and then where are you going to come up with the funds to get a right back? Are we just going to play with Chambers? Could you imagine Ramsey in midfield and Chambers at right back and Holding as center back? Like, where are we? Went back in time. Let's see. Olivier asks, if you get Basuma, Buendia, and Awab, would you not buy a right back and play Chambers? I mean, it depends on what kind of money we're looking at. For Basuma, Buendia, and Awab, you're looking at paying what? That's 80, 100, almost like 100 million, 110 million. So if you don't have the money, then yeah, you play Chambers, but ideally they'd figure out a way to have enough to get a right back. But I mean, if you had to play Chambers for one season, I don't think it would kill you, but yeah, I mean, resource allocation, I think the midfield is really our trouble area. So if we have to address that and we miss out on some other things, that's okay with me because I realize that this is a multiple window rebuild and we won't be able to do everything at once. I think Chambers is okay, to be honest. Boo Boo Baba says, another 30-year-old, great. Exactly. No. Robert says, I don't know why the Glazers and Cronkies are like one family. I don't trust them equally. I mean, no, I don't think. I think Manchester United fans and Arsenal fans are kind of in that same boat where we have some of the worst owners and we know what it feels like to have owners that are just incompetent, So I feel them just like I'm sure they understand us. JC says, who would be able to afford Hector? PSG, Inter if they sell Hakimi? That's a really good point. Now it depends. I'm not sure who the new manager of Inter will be and if Hector Bellerin is somebody that they would like. But PSG looks like they're looking for Hakimi, or they're trying to get something like that done. So if he were to go there, then maybe Inter. But I haven't seen any links to Inter, and I'm thinking that this is when we're talking about a window where you could get Majraoui or Selic for 15, or you could get Max Aarons or maybe Riddle Baku for 25. We're asking people to give us like 25 plus for Hector Bellerin, who I can't say without a shadow of doubt that he's actually better than those players. So either we knock the price down and take a hit, or we hold out for the price that we really want. I don't really know what to do. That's Edu's job. He's got to figure this out, because for me, it's not acceptable to do a player swap where it seems like we're getting the raw end of the deal. It just doesn't make sense to me. 2 30-year-olds? Nah. Io says, how much do you think we can get for Bellerin? Just 25? I think that's what we should be getting. But now it's looking like it's difficult for us to move him on, which is shocking, because I would think that somebody would want him. But then when you look at the amount of good right backs that are on the market, Hakimi, Baku, Aarons, Majraoui, Selic, we're looking at then the price is a little bit lower. Selecta says, are we a sentimental football club? Shaking my head. Aaron time was okay when it was with us, but time to move forward, not backwards. Exactly. I think we need to move on. Gunnar Glenn said, is the Kante to Spuds thing off? I don't know, you guys. To be honest, it was looking like it was going through, and then now it's looking like he's not interested, or he has some concerns. Wouldn't be surprised if we woke up tomorrow and they were saying, here we go. Deal has been concluded and all this kind of stuff. So I would just say, until we know for sure, let's just say that they're in negotiations. Like, I don't want to start celebrating that they're not getting Kante before, and then it go right back into my face the next day and he's going. You know how these things flip-flop. Boo Boo Baba says, Edu has been decent, Jess. Come on. Martinelli, Partey, Pablo Maria are all great signings. Yeah, for sure. But there's still the aspect of Edu where it's not just about bringing in players, it's about selling. And he hasn't really shown us that he's able to recoup decent fees for the players that we have. So that's the other part of the job. Bringing in players is fine, but you still have to be able to sell players too. Right now we're getting, 8 million or so for Guendouzi, 10 million. I mean, it is what it is. Granit Xhaka, maybe 15 to 17. One of these has got to make sense. We're not even able to get anything for Kolasinac. So I know it's a difficult market, but that's his job. So I'm not saying he's like the worst thing ever, but this is still another big part of the job, especially as Arsenal wants to be a self-sustaining model. You have to be able to sell your players. The right back market right now looks like a buyer's market, so it's unlikely we'll get what he'd be ideally worth to us under normal circumstances. Exactly. So, I mean, if it comes down to taking less, like selling him for 15, I would rather do that than swap for either one of those two players, because for me, that makes absolutely no sense, because you can take that 15 million and go get Majraoui or Selic. So it just, no swaps. I'm not into that. Io says Trippier, Anna. I heard a Gunnar suggest Ailing too. Noel says Selic and Majraoui would be ideal. Good profiles, and their clubs are financially struggling. Could get them for decent sums. Exactly. You guys make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Let's see. M. Brooks says all potential buyers know he finished season behind Callum Chambers. Big drop value. That's true. Maybe the aspect of him playing behind Callum Chambers, or seemingly losing his spot and not playing a lot of minutes in a struggling Arsenal team, may make him look like a less, positive, addition to certain people. Maybe that did drop his value. I mean, he kind of just fell off at a certain part in the season. He just stopped playing. So, Gunnar Glenn says, we are going to be doing swap deals this summer, I reckon. What do you think about Lacazette swapping with Dembele at Lyon? I think Lyon has kind of already said that they are unable to pay Lacazette's wages. They've already looked at it. Lacazette is on like 200 grand a week. And in French clubs, they don't have that type of cash. So I'm not really sure that in a struggling like French league and they're struggling financially that they would bring on somebody that would want to keep that same, I want to stay in the lifestyle that I'm accustomed to type of situation. But with Dembele from Lyon, I watched another compilation of him this morning and I was trying to figure out why I wasn't sold on him. I'm not sure what it is, but if we are linked to him and it is real, the one thing that I can say is that Tierney's crosses would not go to waste. One thing that he is really good at is getting on the end of crosses. Is he really skillful? No. Can he hold up the ball? Yes. Is he like the top level striker? Probably not, but he's in a good age range. If it fell apart, we could still sell him. I think it's about 25 million to bring him in. If you could swap him for Lacazette, maybe that works, but I'm not sure about that because I'm not even sure if they can pay Lacazette's wages. Let's see. Also, it could have been avoiding injury. That's very true too with Bellerin. Io says, yeah, Laka's wages are problematic for League One clubs. Exactly. So, yeah, I would say that it has to be rubbish. It has to be. It cannot be true. And I'm hoping that we exhaust every option we possibly can to offload him for a fee. And if we can't do that, then please let the swap deal make sense. Please don't bring in somebody like that just doesn't make sense. Kieran Trippier, for me, although a right back, makes no sense for Arsenal Football Club. Now, one thing that we have to take notice of before we end this part is that if Atletico can sell Trippier to Manchester United, which they are really interested in him, they really want to bring him in, then they will have some sort of money to bring in Hector Bellerin. We just have to hope that the Thomas Partey thing doesn't, backfire on us and they don't try to like overdo it or try to undervalue Hector Bellerin, whatever, because I don't trust Atletico after that, even though we're supposed to be playing a friendly against them over the summer. So, yeah, that's that on that for sure. Boo Boo Baba says, should we sign Alioski from Leeds on a free as a backup to Tierney? He's 29, but looked great last season. I can't stand the guy. We talked about this on the squad building podcast. Harry brought him up as a possible left back cover. I can't stand him. I'm not sure if he's really a left back. He kind of seems like a person in Bielsa's system that plays like a deeper attacking winger. He just doesn't give off left back vibes. In that system, they're basically all attackers. Like, it's very strange. I don't like his attitude, and I'm not sure he would fit in with the group. He just gives off really, really bad vibes to me. So I would say no. And I think we could find some other options that may work for us a little bit better. Let's see. C. Wilder says, I'd really like Laka to stay, or has he only got 1 year left? I mean, he does only have 1 year left. And there was rumors of an extension. I'm not really sure. I haven't seen any concrete, I haven't seen anything concrete about him leaving, so I wouldn't be surprised if we kept him. We're not going to be able to to offload every single player that we don't want at the club anymore. If Lacazette stayed, I wouldn't have an issue with it because I think he's been okay this season. But I think he only has 1 year left. Yeah, I saw this about there are rumors that Arsenal have made a second bid for Buendia. Yeah, I did see that. If that's who we're going after, let's go after it and actually try to bring him in as soon as possible because we don't want to have to wait. And I like Buendia, so I have no issue for that. Noel said, yeah, Fab just tweeted that the Kante move is off. Did he really? Wait, let me look. Give me 1 second. Let me look. Are you guys serious? Like, for real? Like, the opposite of here we go? Like, here we don't go? Antonio Conte wanted to bring more than 4 staff members to Tottenham. Spurs reluctant on this point. Salary proposal difference around 3 million. Investments in project to win as soon as possible, another issue. That's why talks with Conte have stalled. No agreement. Antonio Conte is not joining Tottenham at current conditions. confirmed. He's not convinced about the project and staff members. Big difference on salary too. Haha. I'm not going to laugh just yet. I mean, I already laughed, but it's just funny. Spurs in the mud. Back to Graham Potter. Who else do you guys want? Eddie Howe, is he available? Go get him. Sorry. Sorry. It's so funny. The anti, here we go. Sorry. So funny. All right, you guys. So we're about 30 minutes in. Make sure you guys are liking the video and subscribing to the channel. So what I want to do now is just have a little bit of fun now that we've talked about these silly headlines. And I want to have my question of the day. And depending, if you guys are interested, I'm going to put the link in the comment section for you guys to come on if you want to. No pressure. I know I'm not sure if you guys actually want to come on or not, but you definitely don't have to. But if you want to, that'd be cool. And then we can discuss my question of the day. But let me stop sharing my screen. Here we go. So my question is going to be based on two teams that over the years have been said to be Arsenal's teams, or two teams that were closest to winning a Premier League that never did. So this is in the era that I know. So if it's not, and I know there's teams back in the day that had maybe some similar narratives around them, but they're going to be teams that I know of. And these are teams post the Invincibles, the last team to win the Premier League for Arsenal. So the two teams that I have chosen. And so we're going to kind of discuss, and I want you guys to tell me, which team do you actually think was closer to winning the Premier League? Which team do you think was better? And we'll kind of talk about how it slipped away from them, but it's two teams that I've chosen. So the first team that I chose for this is Arsenal's team for 2007 and 2008. So we've always kind of talked about this team that should have won the Premier League, right? I think, let me see, basically, for some time, it looked like we were going to win it, unbeaten in the first 15 games. We spent the majority of the season, mid-September and early March, at the top of the table, and we were undefeated at home the entire season. We still blew it. The defining moment came in the late season draw and soon to be relegated Birmingham, a result which led to eventual winners Manchester United taking the league, and the iconic moment of William Gallas melting down and sitting on the ground. And we actually came in third that season. So we always talk about this team, and I had to go back and kind of look at it and look at the players that played in this team. And I'm thinking, yeah, this was a team. 2007, 2008 team probably should have won the league, right? So let me know what you guys think in the chat box about this team. And I mean, look at it. Lehmann, Senderos, Toure, Gilberto Silva was still on the team, Fabregas, Kleb, Rosicky, and this is just a random lineup, but this is just so I could show you guys as many of the players as possible. Eduardo, who broke his leg, we all know that, Adebayor, and Van Persie. That's a good team. That's a really good team, and I do think this team could have won the league. And had Eduardo not broke his leg, we probably would have. It was like that could have, I wish it would have happened, right? So this is, before you guys say it's this team, let's talk about another team. So this is a team that I actually really, really like, and I actually like it more than this team that I'm showing you, the 2007-2008 team. It's the 2015 team. I think this team was actually really good, and the depth that this team had with some of our academy players, we should have won the league. This is the Leicester year. This is the year that had Giroud or whoever had stepped up and scored a couple more goals, we probably would have won the league, and we had a really good chance of winning it, because sometimes in the league, it's just about your pieces coming together at the perfect time and everybody else playing like crap. And that's exactly what happened this season. We had Peter Cech, who, whether you like him or not, whatever, Bellerin, Mertesacker, Koscielny, Gibbs, Cazorla, Coquelin, Sanchez, Ozil, Ramsey, and Giroud. Now, don't forget, you had Walcott, you also had Wilshere, you also had Oxlade-Chamberlain. You had a lot of really good players there. And I think they were coming towards the end of Rosicky's career too. So Arteta, was Arteta on this team? I don't remember. I think he may have been, or maybe at the end of his rope. But this team as well, this team came in second place, 10 points off of the top. We allowed Leicester to win the league. And I think about this all the time. Like, were we not one player away? Were we not just one player away? How many times have we heard that? One player away. So, I mean, they're two different seasons, right? There's one team that allowed a really crappy team to come in and win the league, and we needed some extra goals. Another team had a massive injury, other good teams around them, and just slipped away. So, what do you think? Which team was closer, actually closer to winning the league? The 2007-2008 team or the 2015-2006 team? I'll show you guys them again. What do you guys think? Let me see what you guys are saying. Let's see. Bowie the Cat says no chance with Senderos at the back. Noel says, ugh, don't remind me of the Birmingham game. Yeah, that was, yeah. Io says, Senderos name giving me a mild panic attack. JC said the year Eduardo broke his leg, right? Exactly. The year Eduardo broke his leg. Bowie the Cat says all the others were great except for Gallus's attitude. I mean, yeah, both painful years to think about. Seawalder says Eduardo was incredible. Justin said we just needed a goal scorer to win. Exactly. I mean, the 2015-16 season, if we had bought Luis Suarez in like 2014, we would have won the league. You don't lose the league with Luis Suarez, freaking Carzola, Ozil, Ramsey, and Alexis. You just don't. You win the league. So I think we were definitely one player away in that one. We should have won for sure. Fubar says yes. Gunnar Glenn said, when Danny Welbeck scored that goal, I thought we were winning the title for sure, but of course we messed it up. Of course we did. It's typical Arsenal. Boo Boo Baba says the first team still had the winning culture from the Henry era, but didn't have the quality. The second team had the quality, but didn't have the winning culture. That's a really, really good point. A very good point. That one, the 2007-2008 team was a lot closer to that era of greatness. So they still had that a little bit rubbing off on them. But the later team had more quality. So I do agree with that. But culture and mentality is huge. It really, really is. The 2015-2016 team, the only player we bought that season was Czech. I'll never forget that, and I'll never understand why we did that. Just a shambles, right? And like, didn't we buy El Neni in January? Like, what is that? I'm gonna put the link in now. You guys, no trouble. If you guys don't want to come on, you don't have to, but I would love to have you on if you guys just want to discuss this a little bit, or any of the rumors or anything like that. We can just do that. But I just put it in the chat box. Fubar said, I think we were the only team which didn't lose to Leicester that season. Yeah, we were. That team was so good. One day, if you guys have a chance on YouTube, maybe over the summer, because we're not really doing anything, there's a game on YouTube. It's Arsenal versus Lyon. I think in the that Emirates Cup that we do in the summer. You can go and you can watch that. We played against Lyon. Lacazette was actually on that team. Fekir was there. What is his name? The one that plays for Bayern, and also Mtiti. They were all on that good Lyon team. And it was that team, that 2015-2016 team. And they were so good. They were so good. And it was without Alexis, and we beat them like 6-0. We wiped the floor with them. Like, they didn't know what to do. We had power, pace. We had that quick one-touch passing. It was like you could see the footballing IQ was just there. It's on YouTube. It's there. You can watch the entire game. And then you can also watch the Wolfsburg game that we played the next day. Kevin De Bruyne was actually on there still, and Bettner, which is weird. And it was in that same tournament. And we played our second team. And our second team beat Wolfsburg 1-0. We had depth. We had enough depth for two teams, and they were still really good. I think that team was the closest, 2015-2016. Henrik says the Leicester year. Io said the Leicester was just unstoppable, unfortunately. Yeah, all the pieces came together for them to to do it, didn't it? Cancun says, truth be told, both were decent, but 2007, 2008 was better. I go by Kang. Okay, so thank you, Kang. But yeah, I mean, it just depends. I mean, let's look at them one more time. Yeah, I mean, that team is good. That team is still really good. And like Boo Boo Baba said, they were closer to the times where we were good. So maybe we had more confidence, even if we weren't as good. But I still think this team, the quality, I mean, look at that. I mean, I'd take that team now. No, I wouldn't. I mean, but you know what I mean? Like, I like that team except for Giroud. And it's so funny how it all came down to Giroud. Like everybody was like, "Oh, Giroud, he messed it up for us. He didn't score enough goals." I'm like, we should have known. Like sometimes a player can't do something that they've never really done before. I don't think he was ever like a Aubameyang type of goal scorer. Mag says the remnants of winning mentality meant that the 2009 time was closer. True. Robert says, I think I started watching Arsenal in 2008. I thought it was FIFA stream. Beautiful passing. Oh, nice. Kang says, yes, we did. Noel said the 2008 team was closer. We got unlucky, but the 15 team was better. Ozil should have broken the assist record by February. Gazidis has blood on his hands. Oh my gosh. Lamar says Tolisso. That was his name. I forgot him. The guy, he's so forgettable. Mag says, it's a shame that we've lost all of our beautiful football identity. I mean, do you guys care about that? So let me ask you guys a question. If Simeone wanted to manage Arsenal and you know what type of football that he plays, even like Kante to a certain extent, not even, let's say Simeone, because we know what type of football he plays. If he wanted to come in and install like his way of play, but you knew you were going to lose that free-flowing, beautiful Arsenal way of playing and you're going to play a defensive way of playing, but you would win. Would you rather win or would you rather play that way? Like, you know what I mean? Like, do you guys care about still keeping that beautiful football identity or do you want the identity of Arsenal Football Club to be winning no matter what? Let's see. Justin says Tolisso, I know that team well. That was a really good Lyon team. I mean, when you watch it, you would think like the way that they lined up Lacazette, he was, confident Lacazette with his hairline, he was so thought he was going to break us off. Like he really, really did. They were overconfident and we bopped them 6-0. 6-0. It was crazy. Here I have somebody that wants to come on really quick. Let's see. Hey, Karan, how are you?
Yeah, all good. I mean, it's an interesting debate, this one, because they're two very good teams. But the problem is with that 2008, 2019, they didn't have the width. It was a very narrow team, and it was a very narrow build-up team, and you had to really depend on the that midfield trio of Fabregas and then with the other two as well. But that 15-16 team had depth all the way through, and it's a much better team going forward. I mean, not going defensively than the other team. Say what you want about Czech, he did do very well, and he did win the Golden Glove for that season. So yeah, I would take that. I would take that 15-16 team personally, and plus the only main issue is the competition in 08 with the 08 team is much better. So
right,
it depends.
That's very true. I mean, the teams that we lost to, or the teams that we lost to in that season, were good teams, But I do want to kind of talk about the idea of what the identity of Arsenal should be. There's a lot of Arsenal fans that identify with Arsenal as being pretty football. We have to play free-flowing, pretty football. For me, I want to win at all costs, and I don't actually need. I think winning is entertaining, but that's just. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, right, the way there has to be a balance. Okay, there can't be you can't say, okay, we're going to play. I mean, I heard what you said about Conte or Simeone, and the thing is, right, the way Conte plays is not sustainable at all. So if you look at Conte's team, especially that Chelsea team, they did well for that one season, and then they fell off again. So it's three at the back is a very unsustainable formation to keep going up at, for example, for like multiple seasons, as Tuchel will find out next season. Like we did him in quite easily, and a lot of teams will figure him out. So if you're going to have like these three at the back, like the 08 team is some considered three at the back team. It's not a team that can be sustained for multiple years. So that's my issue, and with the Kante system as well. So I would rather have Mikel, who actually knows what a sustainable football team can produce, instead of a Kante.
Well, let's dig a little bit deeper, because I think that's an interesting conversation, because Arteta started out at Arsenal trying to play his way, and then after lockdown we went into a back three. We won a trophy with the back three, and then he switched to a back four, and then trying to build that back four system, we hit a little bit of stumbling blocks, but we kind of got it towards the end. And now you see that if you look at Manchester City is a league team. They win in the league. Chelsea won a trophy in the Champions League. So maybe when you think about it, it's like, okay, well, the Manchester City way that they do things with the back four and the structure and the way that they play is more sustainable over a league season. But if you want to win a knockout competition, you do something a little bit different, but it's not sustainable, like you said.
No, but the difference is if you look at that, FA Cup run. If you look at that, the midfields that we had what, Ceballos and Partey, Xhaka, all playing in that formation. The build up was very sort of, we're going to build up on the right to attack the left. You can see in that AUBAMEYANG goal against Man City, the whole build up was to the right, and then the final pass was to the left, where AUBAMEYANG tapped it in. It's a very sort of, we're going to play. It's a very structured build up. Whereas if you look at a more of a four formation, it's going to be something that's a lot more varied and a lot more, you're more available to actually produce more a sustained attacking play and a sustained build up. So it's much easier to discuss if you're going to do a four at the back formation. But if you want a sustained build up, it's much more easier in the league formation, league format. If you want a one-off team, then maybe three at the back is something you can do. And also you've got to take into account Europe as well. There are different teams in Europe. They build up in different ways. So maybe the three at the back can work, but it's not something that you can do for 38 games week in, week out.
For sure. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Karan. Thank you for coming on. I hope you come back soon. And thank you. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Worries. You too.
All right. We got another caller, another person that wants to come on. It is Noel. Is it Noel?
Yeah, Noel.
Nice to meet you. So
nice to meet you.
Say your piece. What do you want to talk about? Because we talked about so many things today.
Right. Well, I find the current affairs around Arsenal more interesting, but quickly on the question that you asked about the 07-08 and the year Leicester won it. It would have been better, in my opinion, had we won it in 08, because that was around the time that United won it, like back to back. So I feel like it would have been a bigger feat had we done it back then, but also would have been like a major disappointment, or it would have been fraudulent, because we had Gallas as our captain with the number 10 on his back playing center back,
Yeah.
That would have been crazy, But I do think the 15 team was a better team. And like you said, we were always like one player away from getting there. So yeah, that was pretty disappointing.
Yeah, it definitely was. But did you want to talk about something more current too?
Yeah. Well, mostly about the recruitment around Arsenal. And kind of ties into the whole Super League thing, or at least the decision of the club to go into that. I really think that we need to be moving smarter, and I was really happy with the Campos links to the club. And I see links to like Sterling and Mahrez, and I really hope those aren't true. I just really want us to kind of function a little bit more like maybe a Leicester or a Lille in that sense. Just be a little smarter in the transfer market and in our recruitment, and really how the club is ran. Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, for sure. I think I prefer, because let's be real, like Leicester's not doing anything that we weren't doing back in the day. Untapped talent, bringing it up, developing that talent. The only difference is that we didn't always sell that great, but same kind of thing. Now they're doing it, and now we're looking at it like, why don't we do that? It's because fans were going, we need to buy big players. We need to buy big players. We need to be able to compete with Man City, with these types of teams. And I think that's the issue, is that we've talked about this on this channel multiple times about our identity issue, is that we don't know who we are anymore. So you see this kind of weird kind of back and forth where, well, we want to develop players, but we don't have enough time. So we're going to buy this player. We're going to cut corners. We're going to do this. And it doesn't really work. So for me, until they decide what the identity is and settle on it and build a structure that can sustain that long term, I don't really know who Arsenal is, because we buy big name players, but we don't build around them so that they can be successful. We destroy their value and then we sell them for nothing. So that doesn't really make sense. We never finish the project. So as much as I want to do the Leicester thing, Leicester will never win a trophy. They'll never win a big trophy like Champions League or the Premier League, because you're always one player away. You're always a little bit short. But to get back to the top 4, you could do that. And then when we get there, buy the player that we're always short, buy the striker, buy the Suarez, and get it done.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can do it, but I'm just not sure we have the right people in place.
It's interesting you say that, because in the era of like the super club, like, or I guess financially super, and like, your Chelseas or your Cities, clubs that we won't be able to financially compete with, we have to deal with that now. Whereas our success, in the 2000s, we didn't really have to deal with that. And in order to compete with that, I just think we have to like take advantage in the margins as much as we can. That's the only way I see us being able to compete with teams with that kind of arsenal. So, and I think it takes bravery. Actually, I think the brave thing to do is actually to stick with the idea of maybe taking these low 15, 20 million gambles, right, and sticking with those players and trying to trying to take that, as opposed to signing a player for 50, 60 million. And we've never been good at selling, like you said. So we normally never even recoup what we spent there. It's just a bad practice the way we're ran right now. I just think that comes from the people running the club, or the decision makers at the time. So, maybe the focus should be more on them.
Yeah, 100%. I definitely agree with that. Thank you so much for coming on, Noel. I really appreciate it. And
thanks for having me.
Hope to see you soon. Enjoy your weekend.
You too. Bye.
All right, we got a super chat here from Lamar. Thank you so much for your super chat. I really appreciate it. Lamar says, love seeing a lady that knows her football. Unfortunately, you support Arsenal. Keep the streams coming. Lacazette in for Giroud and you win in 2016. I don't know about all that. I think you buy Suarez in 2013, 2014, and you already have your striker. But that's just me. But thank you so much for your super chat. We have another caller in. It's Ayo. Hey, Ayo.
Hey, what's up? What's up?
What you got to talk about?
Luis Campo. Luis Campo. It's just a really strange one, in the sense of, I'm excited. It's obviously exciting to be linked to that sort of connected person, a bit like how Raul was, but I had no idea how dodgy Raul ended up being. So but Luis Campo, we know, he sold us Pepe for 70 odd million, so he's definitely the kind of guy you want. But what I don't get is, how do you have Campo and then you have Richard Garlick, who's on board now? He was previously I think with the Premier League, so he's got great connections in the Premier League. He should be able to be the sort of commercial guy you want to get deals done. So, you got those two, and then what is Edu bringing to the table? I don't really understand what Edu then brings to the table, if that's the case. And then I see that apparently it's been reported that we're offering him an advisory kind of gig, aren't we?
Kind of job.
Yeah, but what I don't understand there is, that's a bit, if I was him, I feel a bit disrespected by that, because he's got so many clubs who would love him on board as a director of football. you know. So if we're coming, oh yeah, we want you, but we want you in an advisor. It's like, Edu, bro, it feels like Edu he's trying to say, I'm not quite good enough to do this job, but then I want to have the advice of people who are good enough. Whereas football at this level, it doesn't work like that. So that's just, I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, I don't know what Edu's job would be in that particular structure, because it's just going back to the Raul thing. It was Raul and Hasfami and Arteta or / Emery. And so it was like, and then there was this extra role of a technical director, which I'm trying to figure out what the heck is that. And they're like, well, he's who hires people, the staff. And I'm just like, why do we need you for that? Like, we don't need you for that. So I just think it's weird about like the consulting aspect of it. I don't know if that was just the club trying to make it seem like it wasn't as serious as maybe what it really is. Because if you got somebody like Edu in the job and you're like, we're going to hire this, director of football, no, it's just going to be a consultant, maybe they're just trying to play it down. But if they got that done, that would be the biggest signing that we could ever do, because over the last 15 years, I don't know how long it's been forever. We've been crap at buying and selling players. And all people really focus on is who's coming in. But one of the bigger parts of the job is how do you get people out, and how do you make sure that you recoup some money from what you bought. And we just don't do a good job at that. And he's a master at it. The guy is absolute master at it. So for me, it just, I'm not sure if it's real. I'm not sure if it's legitimate. We haven't seen anything. I looked today and to see if there was any news on it. There was nothing. And so I'm hoping that they're working on a deal for this guy. Like, I don't know why we can't just act quickly. It's like, we don't owe Edu anything. Like, fire Edu and bring this guy in. We need somebody experienced above Arteta. Can't have so many iffy people up there. I mean, what do you think about that? Don't you think that at least one person in that hierarchy needs to have some experience in this, in their position?
No, completely. And I mean, there was I can't remember who suggested O'Leary in the board as a board position to sort of be a football influence on the board. I think I know who it was. I think it was Sir Harris of Peckham, who is like a sort of carpet tycoon in the UK, but he's been associated with Arsenal for decades. And essentially, he saw where things were going, and he advised that David O'Leary should join the board. And it was also Chips Keswick as well, if I'm not mistaken, who stepped down from the board. He was honorary chairman, and he also suggested it. And it was just vetoed by KSC, because KSC, they don't need to conform to the kind of traditions or the kind of business model of traditional English football clubs, because for them it's a commercial operation. As long as it's not losing money, success is by the by. That's the vibe I'm getting from them, and ultimately they want to placate the fans. They want to obviously sell. They want their outfitter, Adidas or whoever, to sell shirts. So they want to invest and to keep Adidas happy, let's be real, by buying players that are going to shift shirts. But ultimately, I feel like they've been taken back by how hard it is to maintain fourth, I think, like qualify for Champions League. And now it's been so long, I think everybody's all sort of just, they don't know what to do. They know either you spend like 200 million, which they're not going to do, to get back into the game and be really competitive and ensure that, Champions League is by the by, or you keep going down this route, which feels like there's no guarantees. It's a good thing that we've got no Europe this season, so we can fully focus on the league. But what if we don't get top four?
I don't know.
What does that say about us? If we can't get top four without any European distractions, and we cannot get to, that's too scary a reality for me, that like that will affect my mental health too much, to the point where I'm being serious. Like, I can't deal with that, because it's like a mirror. No, you're laughing, but I'm being totally serious. It's like a mirror being so shone on our state of affairs if we can't get top 4 without Europe.
I mean, but let's be real. Like, 2 of them spots are at least gone. Like, 2 of them spots are already gone. So are we really going to be able to get them other 2? But I mean, the reality of like KSC and the Glazers specifically is they just, like you said, they just want to get into Champions League, so they have a certain amount of money coming in every single year so that they don't actually have to put any money into the club. That's how they keep that self-sustaining model. That's why they invested in Arsenal, because Arsenal is a Champions League club. They thought that money was just going to keep going. They didn't have to actually put any of their own money in. Now that we don't have that money, they know they have to do something, and they're panicking. But make no mistakes, they'll do a little bit, and if we luck up and get into the top 4, the money will stop coming in, because that's exactly what happens to Manchester United. Every single time they get to the Champions League, the Glazers stop spending money. They spend money to get into the Champions League, and then when they fall out, they'll maybe spend some money. So we'll never, I don't want to say never, because I don't want to be like super negative, but I just don't see under this ownership us ever really going for the title. But I see us trying to do as much to get into the Champions League so that they can get that money going, because that's what they wanted with the ESL. That's all they really wanted, was just a closed Champions League so that it just keeps making money. And it's just really kind of sad. But as far as us making it into the Champions League, that's not something that I'm confident in, to be honest, because I just don't know. Like, Manchester City is going to be up there. I think Manchester City and Liverpool are going to be up there. And then you have Manchester United. Yeah, Chelsea
and Tuchel, Tuchel. It's just, definitely. I mean, we have got to hope things disintegrate at Liverpool. Klopp, it sometimes happens. I know it's just so totally different when he was at Dortmund, because a lot of his top players got sold, and then things kind of, the wheels fell off. I don't think it's quite there yet, but a lot of that team are very restless, in my opinion. A lot probably are thinking of their next move. I feel like Mane hasn't had the greatest season. I think he's been restless. The rumours are he's been restless. But basically, I'm just hoping they get a bit of bad luck. Maybe, I mean, we've seen it with the injury to Virgil van Dijk. And we just need that kind of luck in terms of a team like Liverpool. Obviously Man City are going to be Man City. Chelsea, I mean, for me, they're the dark horses. I think they could really go on and win it. But then again, Man City are probably going to spend so much money this window,
I think Liverpool is going to be back. They're
you
actually
think so? Okay.
When we do our predictions, just spoiler alert, I think Liverpool is going to be back. I think Chelsea is going to struggle a little bit, like how we were talking about with Quran. That back 3 is not sustainable. I think people will figure them out. I know people think, well, he's so tactically flexible. Well, a lot of managers are, and they still figure you out, and when you're the new kid, I mean, they're basically just us at a higher level. When we won the FA Cup, they basically did the exact same thing, and then they got found out, and then they had to switch it, and it didn't work. So, but I still think they'll be up there. When we do our predictions, I do think Liverpool is going to be back. I think people underestimate them and think that team is finished. They're not. They're not finished. And the people that they're linked with, they are linked with Basuma. I know that they're saying they're not interested in him. They are. And if they get Basuma and they get a couple of them other players that they're linked with, I think they're going to be a problem. And it's not like Jota played the entire season, but he was good, even though, he didn't play that much. But this isn't a Liverpool channel. We don't talk about that too much. But I think we'll end it there. We're at about an hour. I thank you so much for coming on. I'm sure I'll talk to you at some point. You guys, definitely. I know Io, so if you think I was being mean to him, it's because I know him. Because I know him, and this is how it is, But thank you so much for coming on, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Cool. Nice one. Thank you.
All right, you guys, we're gonna end it there. This is a good stream. I really enjoyed myself, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. I already said that tomorrow I won't be doing a stream. I'm going to try to take a little break But unless something like special happens, I probably won't be on, but I'll definitely be back on Sunday. And then on Monday, we're working on a special show for you guys at 10 p.m. UK time. And James Bench will also be on Monday at 6 p.m. UK time for a news segment. So make sure you're here, you're liking the video, so you're subscribing to the channel. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye, guys.